He's trying to regain a little bit of his sanity.
All right. Here we are with everything working. We're back.
We're back.
Are we live?
Yes, we're live. The
We're
mics are
live,
working.
and we got audio this time.
We're live officially. Sorry for if you were watching just some moment ago. Welcome back to the Natural Sum Show. We've been away for 2 weeks. Jay was taking care of some health issues. We were taking care of some health issues. So nothing major, just taking care of some things.
Yeah, we were just a few weeks break.
And we do have an interesting show today. We were going to discuss some heavy-hitting topics. If you want to just roll into it. Oh, actually, before we roll into it, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you can on our YouTube channel. We're trying to overcome the algorithm and get a subscribe button. Also, follow us on all of our social platforms. Follow us on all of our social platforms, except
Pretty please.
that one that we won't talk about anymore. Yeah, Jay, you
MySpace?
Yeah, MySpace, that one.
Don't follow us on MySpace.
Don't follow me on Pornhub.
Don't follow me on.
You have a Pornhub?
No.
Don't follow me
What's
on.
the link? Gross. What's the link?
Gross. Type.
I am Groot 6969.
Nice. That's a really good one.
Good.
It's a really good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for the first, I mean, we could. It's not just your topic. We can all see what we're talking about. Do you want to introduce the first part of it?
Yeah. So first, before I get started, you might be wondering what this cute little furry guy is doing on my mic. This is OctoKitty. OctoKitty he is our moderator.
Why does he have a butter knife?
He'll attack you.
He'll slice you a slice of butter.
No, so this is a part of the merch that's coming out for ECC, Emerald City Comic Con here in Seattle. That'll be next weekend. That's where I will be at. So I don't know.
Whoa, hold on. You got early merch from Seattle or ECC?
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
How'd you get early merch?
You got more early merch? Is that some kind of like VIP program or ticket that you got?
I'm just that good.
Oh, you're a star again or what is it called? You're an important person again this year, huh?
Yeah. This is what happens when you have a podcast. You guys should try it.
No, you just buy a
certain
ticket, right?
It's like where we pretend to talk into the void, but like no one's listening.
No one's listening, and sometimes the mic.
They can't hear it.
No one's listening because the mics aren't even working, and
oh
boy,
we've had some technical difficulties this morning. Supposedly from OctoKitty, because on the other podcast I'm on, the Air Code Show, same exact thing happened. And it was when this guy first appeared. So OctoKitty is evil and is like causing equipment issues.
Evil OctoKitty.
But I'm like too afraid of OctoKitty to get rid of them. So,
well, there they remain. There they shall remain.
It just like won't let go. I don't know if
so we got some heavy hitting topics.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Are you aware that transgender people are being aggressively attacked?
Are you aware that trans rights are under fire right now? If you're not,
are you aware of the power of shadows?
You should definitely be. There is some serious things happening out there, trying to take our rights away as humans. Jay, you want to introduce some of those things?
Yeah, all I'm saying is that you people do not exist because when I close my eyes, you all disappear and none of you are there, so you're all just all.
Can we agree? Like the only trans person he knows is Caitlyn Jenner, right?
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Is that like the only trans person he knows?
Probably.
I think so.
Lord help us.
Yeah, I know.
Lord help us.
Someone. The aliens in space, please help us. Just take over
Yeah,
already.
like, please
Take
abduct
over.
me and
Just
just,
take
like,
over,
take me
please.
somewhere else. I would love to just, like, not be here anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that might be interesting. Like, alien race comes and enslaves us all, and in like a
And only saves the trans people.
uh,
But
Washington State. They just take like, well, the western part of Washington State. They just like take that. They're like, okay, everyone else, bye.
all right.
Um,
Serious
Oh,
serious
what are we
note
talking
though.
about?
yeah, no. So unless you've been living in Iraq for the past, I don't know, month and a half, you probably have noticed there's been a pretty aggressive war launched on more than 2 million transgender people here in the United States. There's been many executive orders, such as, quote, defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government. Executive order? Dang, that's like a freaking, that's a mouthful. They should have something very creative like Doge or some shit. Anyways, um, this order instructs federal agencies to recognize that there's only two unchangeable sexes determined at conception. That sounds very basic. Doesn't sound like very, very complicated at all. However, that has like pretty damning consequences to the trans member uh, community as a whole. So this means like you cannot get your passport changed with
Yeah.
Mhm.
your gender that you identify as. This means if you go to prison, you'll have to be housed with whatever your biological sex was that was determined at conception. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of
At
other.
conception or at birth?
It says like conception, which I
How do
thought
Well,
at
you
conception we were
determine
all
someone's birth
female.
at conception?
well,
Um,
technically at conception we're all female, so we all should be housed in female
Is that
prisons.
what they really said? Did they really say from conception, or did you misspeak?
Let me see. Yeah, OctoKitty agrees. Conception.
Conception.
They literally said the gender's determined from conception?
That's why the ongoing joke is that all cis men are trans
Wait, what?
because
Did they really say
oh
that?
Jay, you're
Oh,
trans. You started off as a cis female in the womb.
that's fucking dope, dude.
Yeah. And then you
So
grew
you're a
and
trans
then you
man?
grew a penis.
Does that mean every man is a trans man?
I mean, according to some people in government and some laws, I guess. Yes.
I wonder
Why
if
am I just now hearing about this? So you mean they legally just declared everyone's a woman?
Well, no, they were trying to. It was more of an argument of like, when is a baby considered a human? And they're like, at conception. And so then it's just this,
Okay.
it's just a very ongoing argument between both
So
the
now the
extreme
gender is
left and
also
right about
determined at
like, yeah.
conception as well?
Huh? What was that?
And they said gender is determined at conception as well?
I'm not sure. I'm not speaking on that because I'm not sure, but
Okay. Okay. I gotta look that up because
yeah.
that's fucking wild.
yeah,
Um,
OctoKitty has assured that it is correct.
wow, that's
We have to go with
crazy.
Sure. Okay. All right. So
uh
as long as OctoKitty says.
but but no, there's been a lot. There's been a lot going on, and this has been kind of like the latest push to try to erase everything trans related from the public eye. Um and diving into the tea, if you will. Everyone grab your teacup.
I don't have a teacup.
I call this segment Spilling the Tea with Jay.
There's my teacup.
Maybe tea time? Tea time with Jay? Gotta do pinky out. Since I'm like, since I just found out I'm trans, I don't know. I might have to like change my wardrobe now. I don't know. Anyways, no. So I posted a very simple petition on social media.
Hmm.
That, hey guys, Human Rights Campaign. They are a great organization, by the way. They
Yes.
just want equal rights for everyone.
Yeah. Basic,
uh,
right? Basic thing.
basic things, and then I don't know. Some people just woke up and said, "Fuck that." But So Human Rights Campaign was like, hey, they're doing a petition because one of the things that Donald Trump did was remove the term transgender from the Stonewall Monument website, which it's a fact. We had transgender members of the community there that night. Um, and then it's also argued that a transgender woman was one of the first people to throw the first brick at the stone wall inn. That
Yeah.
one's a little
Yes.
bit debatable.
Trans woman of
However,
color, and you can't spell Stonewall without the letter T.
sounds like
Like
a
your
lot of
like I mean like your shirt represents.
Yes,
You can't
that is how the
like
English language works. That's
like
correct.
drag queens, trans feminine women or effeminate men, they were all like a main part of that movement. And they're trying to erase that from history.
Mhm.
yeah.
But yeah, you post about the HRC thing, which I thought was like I thought that was good because like it's just asking, it's just a petition, like, hey, sign this, um, so we can try to make sure that like we can get some protections not taken away from us. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was just petting the pussy. But yeah, just
What?
trying to correct a mistake that was made and trying to restore history essentially. Like we know these things happen. This is not a thing that's up for kind of debate. Like if you want to be historically accurate, it happened. Fucking deal with it. Um
But America's that's not what America's known for. America's known for changing history in a way that benefits itself.
oh, we don't do that at all. What? When was the last time we did that?
Um, so I recall growing up in Florida and, not being told that America was built off of slavery. We actually kind of avoided the subject entirely,
Mm, yes.
or the fact that we like massacred all of the Native Americans. Well, the majority of them.
That I will say that one I do remember. I went through a lot of history. I think in elementary school, like every year we learned about like Osceola and like the Trail of Tears and everything
Hmm.
like that. I think I will say like that part, where I grew up in Florida, like they were pretty big on.
I'm pretty sure we just watched Pocahontas.
Hmm.
I
That's interesting
I'm
because
not joking. I'm
when I
not
was
joking. I
when
think
I
we
was a
watched
kid,
Pocahontas in my class.
when I was a kid, because I when I went to elementary school, it was up northeast. I learned a lot about like Native American tribes that were from that area, and just a lot about what the history of what happened during that time. And from my knowledge, I do remember not hearing the best things about the pilgrims that came over. Then obviously, like it's history for children, so they're not going to get into the details of what pilgrims did back then. But they didn't
I
say
thought they just walked around with their fancy metal helmets and looking sexy like John Smith.
no. What really happened is they got up on shore. There was people there, native people there. They got the turkey out. They got the mashed potatoes out, and they had Thanksgiving.
So, yeah, so they're erasing our
Just-
history.
yeah.
They're trying to say that the T was never there. It was only LGBs.
Hmm.
LG.
It's only LGBTs.
Um, it was only the LGBs. Same thing with like traveling. Only the LGBs are allowed to travel right now. The T's, y'all got to figure your shit out.
Yeah.
What I think is also interesting is they're also getting rid of the Q. They're like no more queer, just like no more T,
Well,
no
because
more.
queer is weird and they don't understand it, and that's what their war is against. Anything we don't understand. If we don't understand it, we are
We're
no
running.
make it go away.
Go away. Uh,
you mean I have to spend more than 5 seconds of thought?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of things happening. Not only is
yeah.
like they're trying to remove trans people from the history of Stonewall, but they're just I don't know. It's weird because like the argument to do that isn't justified in my
Well, and it
opinion.
doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop with just, like, erasing the history in general. They're also just, like, straight up in some states, they're trying to make it fucking illegal to just even
Exists.
present,
Yeah.
to even, like, be in public. What is it? Which one is it? Is it Iowa or is it Montana? I can't remember.
Uh, I mean, Montana and Iowa are passing things that, and Texas. There's a bunch of
In
states.
Texas?
There's a bunch of states currently that have bills in the works that are going to remove protections. Like, for instance, if you're renting from someone that may be uh religious in some way, and you being trans is against their religion, they can just literally evict you for that reason. And we had protections in place to protect us from these things. People are trans people are
Why
going
are we
to
involving religion in any of our political decision
trans people are
making?
going to start losing their jobs in a lot of states if these bills get passed just for being trans. You know, like it's nuts to me because there are so many
Well,
people that
and
are part of our
the
community.
same thing though, it's not just gonna stop, like, with the same thing with the bathrooms. It's not gonna just stop with trans people. It's going to affect not traditionally acceptable female or male. Like if you don't look 100% in your gender, guess what?
You're getting a crotch pat down.
Oh well, we think you might be.
I just can't
You
imagine.
you wore skinny jeans last week.
I just can't imagine a world
Skinny
like
jeans is a slippery slope, babe.
where people are going to like inspect you somehow before you going to the restroom. Like, are you like, that's why I'm wondering is like, do people like that are trying to get these laws passed, do they think there's going to be an officer of the law standing between both bathrooms? Like, come
Oh,
here, and
I am an
they're
officer of the
going to
law.
pat your
I'm here to check
crotch.
your genitals.
They're going to pat your crotch and be like, "Ah, I feel a lump in there. Got to go in the men's room." what, like, what if it's a banana in their pocket?
They're
You
just
know,
checking
like,
for innies or
or
outies.
it could
They're
be
just
a
is it an
real,
innie or an
it
outie?
could be an Audi. Like, it could be an Audi, and you don't know what an Audi is. You don't have one.
If an officer of the law has to grope my private areas, oh,
We got off subject. Back
I'm
to
sorry, I
the
didn't mean to get erotic there for
no.
a second.
It's, I mean, it's important for us to show how absurd these ideas and these bills
Yeah, it's
are.
fucking stupid.
They're
And I will say,
How are you gonna police gender?
so that's what the final straw was for Stonewall, though. Officers would come into a bar,
hmm
and then like if there were people that were dressing outside of their gender, you got arrested.
yeah.
That's what like finally like there was one night that finally was like the final straw, and they started fighting back. But um,
Did
yeah,
anybody watch
so
Pose? Does anybody watch Pose?
I have
pose,
not seen it. You try to get me to watch it. It's good. It's really good.
It's good. You should watch it.
pose.
hmm It's about
Oh, Jay, yeah, Jay,
queens.
if you haven't watched it, you should totally watch Pose. It's got that cute guy in it. What's his name? Ah, I'm bad with names.
Anyway,
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. So going back to the story. So I was sitting there on the toilet, and I was like just wondering like how shit is made, and got into this like social media argument with this person. Um,
Who?
we will just call the person
person.
person A. Person
Okay.
A. Um, this was like very interesting because um they stated that they're I'm like paraphrasing because it went on for quite a while
Yeah.
through like multiple days of arguing, but the person stated that the liberals are trying to erase history, which I thought was really interesting because the White House is literally trying to erase history by doing things like removing transgender from Stonewall. Like, you're trying to erase history right there.
Hmm.
Um, so I pointed that out to them, and they said, "No, no, 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 no. That's not erasing history, because trans history is not that old. So therefore, it's not history." And I was like, "What? Like, what the hell
Huh?
do you like history is? Like,
let's
what?"
let's be straight up and factual
History
right
isn't
away.
history unless it's old enough.
Let's
It's
be
like
factual.
wine. It has to mature.
Let's be
So like
factual
nine
right away though.
eleven, 9/11 is not history because like
Yeah, if it didn't happen long enough ago. It's not history.
okay.
Trans people have been around for centuries, so we are part of history.
And stop shoving those airplanes down our throats.
We are history.
Yeah.
Trans history is human history. Just get that straight for a
You
fact.
can't spell human without T.
Yes. Wait, what? Yeah, you can. Uh,
The T
You
is
can't
silent.
spell
T is
humanity
humanity
without T.
and
without an
also, it seems from what are we want to just um continue our information that we were talking about here?
All right, so is that Stonewall then?
No, we were. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Jay, do you want to continue with the other things that are under attack? Our rights.
Yeah. So, there's been a lot of interesting things going. This has all been to better our society and keep women and little children safe in K through 12 grades. Um, so let's see here. We got blocked federal funding for healthcare providers that offer gender affirming care to transgender community
Individuals
members
underage.
under
Yes.
the age of 19. Um, the affected treatments include puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and gender affirming therapy, even though such surgeries for minors have been noted as quite rare. Also, I don't really understand the under 12 part because once you become 18, aren't you like considered like a legal adult?
Wait, what?
Yeah, so this says like under the age of 18, or sorry, under the age of 19, but at 18,
So you can't even make the decision at 18?
supposedly not.
But
Which
you
is a little
uh,
weird to me because you can serve in like the military and get shipped overseas and fight in a war, but you can't.
I can't what?
Yeah.
What?
I don't. My biggest gripe right now, and this is another thing. Trump, and Trump is ordering the ban of trans Americans from the military right now. Like he's literally calling for other soldiers to basically rat out, their fellow soldiers to try to
I
target
mean,
the
so
trans
like ratting out's
soldiers.
really not a thing. Like they know. They already like the commander knows.
What
The
does
medical facilities know. Like it's not.
what doesn't make sense to me is that people think trans people are not fit to serve or not fit enough to serve the military, but we're too fit and we're too impressive when it comes to professional sports, which
Yeah, I've
makes
heard that argument before.
which makes absolutely I'm so confused by that. Like I am so confused by that.
I'm not confused. It's very simple. They just don't fucking want you there. Like
Well,
they
I
don't
mean,
they don't care. They don't care if you have an advantage or a disadvantage.
that's not what
They
I'm
don't
confused
give a
about.
fuck. They just don't want you there. They don't want to do work or anything. They don't want to think about you existing while they're working.
But
They
where's the
don't.
logic? Is the like
Oh, they don't. They don't. There's no logic. They just don't care. They don't. There's no thought about you or your well being. They don't fucking care.
there needs to be logic behind bills
No, no,
and
that doesn't need
stuff.
to be logic. Just hate. Just
Well, I'm being
fucking
serious. I'm
hate.
not being
But
sarcastic
we'll
right
call
now.
it something else. We won't call it hate. We won't call it bigotry. We won't call it fucking authoritarianism. We'll just fucking call it. We'll just think of another word that sounds fluffy. We'll call it that.
Oh, like religion.
Oh no, what's the DEI? They love shouting that now. That's their new modern slur. It's like DEI, DEI, DEI.
I did want to
You're not white and
because
straight.
we're kind of talking about like people hating and using other things to justify their hate. And that kind of
Mhm.
brings us into our next topic that I wanted to touch on, which is another kind of heavy hitting topic. And I think relates to the three of us and many people that are our age a lot. And I want to start it off with just basically the question is for me, is religion grooming? My argument here is when I was younger, I did not get to choose if I was going to get circumcised. I did not to get to choose if I was going to be baptized. I did not get to choose if I wanted to be Catholic, Christian, or Jewish or anything like that. It was forced upon me. My family decided for me. And what really tears me apart is that religion, certain types of religion, they'll use their religion to hate certain groups of people. And
Mhm.
when I was brought up as Roman Catholic, I was told that being gay was wrong. And for the longest time, that was a conflict internally that I was dealing with, a struggle I was dealing with internally. And I feel like now, being an adult, that was grooming me as a child to think a certain way, to act a certain way, and to conform to a certain lifestyle that I did not agree with naturally as a person. And
Mhm.
I just I just think that people need to wake up. Let's not wake
No,
up. Let's
that's
not
being
say that.
woke. No, waking up is being woke.
People
You
need to
can't wake up.
realize that you can't tell us that that parents are forcing the kids to be trans. Their kids are making that decision themselves and then asking their parents for help. What you're doing with a religion is forcing your kids to be that religion. There is peer pressure focused on that. People around you that are friends will be like,
Well, yeah,
"Why don't
because
you go to church?"
they put the weight of eternal damnation behind it. They're like, you will be tortured for eternity,
And
and that's fucking terrifying. That's
yeah,
fucking terrifying.
and 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 let me be clear. I have no religious background at all right now, but I want to say that like it's it's not okay. It's not okay because for me, religion was a very negative experience. Um, Sundays were a dreadful time, like wearing itchy clothes, hugging strangers, getting kissed on the face by strangers, talking about sins or masturbation to some weird guy in a dark booth, which was called confession. And just like a lot of weird things and creepy things, things that made me feel uncomfortable as a kid that I was just forced to do anyway. And I just don't understand how we're still doing that today. It's just it makes no sense to me. And I kind of I brought this up because like I really wanted to say like how was it for you, like for the both of you, and how was it for the audience? Like were you brought up in a way where you were forced to be religious and then later on you're like, wow, I don't believe in that? Or do you still believe in it and you have a different take on it now? Or how, I mean, you two are here right now, so like how is it for you?
So, I mean, like when it comes to my beliefs, I'll keep that to myself. Like I think I pretty far out idea as far as like what I think spiritually. But I will say that like I was raised kind of like I can make my own choices. I don't have to go to church. I grew up in a really small town where I was kind of peer pressured um, by my some of my friends that you know they believed like they needed to save me like because I was gonna go to hell. So they quickly were like, you need to come to church with us because they were drinking the same Kool-Aid their parents were drinking, and I kind of got peer pressured into going with my friends, and I went to a Pentecostal church, and that scared the shit out of me, because they were all like yelling gibberish and shit, and having the Lord speak through them, and that shit made me uncomfortable because they came off as crazy to me.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of migrated churches. Like I left that church to be at a Methodist church. I tried Baptist. I tried Methodist, Baptist, and what's the other one? Um, help name a denomination. Pentecostal, Methodist, Baptist. What was the fourth one?
Christianity,
Church of
No,
Christ.
that's a
Catholicism.
no. Doesn't matter, doesn't
No,
matter.
not
Just
really.
a different flavor of Jesus. I tried, and I was always just kind of kept getting being conflicted with like the hypocrisy of the teachings, you know, and I just kind of grew away from it over time. And then like once I went to college, like that,
Hmm.
I started interacting with people that were like, wait, like you went to church by choice, you know.
Yeah.
So I was different in that I was given the option. I took a taste, and after high school, I had my fill. Done with it.
Makes
Jay,
sense.
what about you?
Yeah.
Um,
What's your experience with yeah?
well, it's only been a couple of months since I have discovered a little Octo Kitty.
Little
Is that your
Octo
new
kidding.
religion?
No, God. Okay, so yeah, I started going to church at a pretty early age. I went to a Church of Christ. Also a very small kind of small town. Um, I will say like how I started going was this church. My A lot of things happen. Cut to this church, this local church, like took my dad and I in and gave us a place to live because we were homeless. And helped my dad like get a job, um, get back out on his feet, um, and like kind of really took care of us. So I always kind of felt like I had to, I don't know, how to go to church. I mean, like when you're a kid, you kind of enjoy it because you have a lot of friends to play around with. So there's that, but there were a lot of things that happened in my childhood that I felt like I I wanted to fit in with this like church group. I really did. But I felt like no matter what I do, like I'm going to go to hell. So um when when I was in elementary school, I was I don't know how to say this. So I'm just going to say it very scientifically. When I was in elementary school, I was sexually assaulted by an older female. Um, and then again in middle school by a different female. I was also sexually assaulted. So I felt like it was my fault because like I didn't necessarily stop it. Um and then also because like they pretty much are screaming at you all the time that like sexual things are you're going to go to hell, blah 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 blah. Um I was afraid. Like I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone until like 2 years ago. And this happened in elementary school and also in middle school. And then in middle school I did not know any sort of terminology for anything, but um I started experiencing like power dynamics and power playing kinky things and BDSM, and like it really like clicked well with me. Like I knew like this was me, but at the same time I knew this is not like what I should be doing. Like this is not I go to church every Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night, and like I'm going to go to hell. So I think I think it was very shameful. Because I felt like no matter what I did, I was just going to end up in hell. So I didn't tell anyone ever. Um, because again, I thought it was like my fault. And then, yeah, and I think like what right after high school, when Florida legalized gay marriage, a friend of mine, a lesbian couple, asked me if I would officiate their wedding, and I agreed to it. So I became a Florida notary, and I officiated their wedding because a lot of church groups would either refuse to or they would require LGBTQ plus community members to go through separate counseling that they could not afford. Like it'd be like $10,000 of counseling just for them to then pay like an extra fee to officiate the wedding. Um, so I just started
Ha!
doing like gay weddings for free. Like my whole thing was like invite me to the reception, and give me some food, give me something to drink, and I'll officiate your wedding for free. And that was like the huge like I guess breakup between myself and the church because obviously I was then promoting
You were
sin.
marrying them.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was going to
That's
go to hell.
cool.
And
I
see,
didn't know that about you, Jay. I think that's super cool.
see, and this, like what you mentioned a little bit earlier in your story, you were a kid when you were thinking you're going to fucking hell for someone assaulting you. That's that's ridiculous. And that's like a core of like where I'm getting at with religion can be grooming. There's people in there in churches that
They
work for
convince you
churches.
to think a certain way. They convince you to think your
Yes.
natural way is wrong. Like,
Yes, yes. And I feel like that's a bigger subject, a bigger problem that we need to be focusing on because excuse me, trans people make up 1% of this country. Christian and Catholics make up a bigger percentage of the country. So maybe we should be focusing on that issue than other issues because this, if I remember correctly, is a country where all religions are accepted. All ideas, all beliefs are accepted. That was what we were built on. So can we stick to that? That's what we need to stick to, I think, in my personal opinion, because that's what we were built on. We literally people that claim to be Americans and not claim to be the natives that were on this land before were immigrants. Like we're people that weren't naturally from here. So let's be smart.
I
I
don't want to be smart.
But yeah, that's just crazy to me. And also, you, what is it called? Becoming an officiate, just to, just to like kind of like be like, you know what? You're against it. I'm helping anyway. That just shows like, you know, there's
Well,
one thing. There's one thing that just shows. There's one thing in the Bible that I agreed with, and it's to love thy neighbor. And I do think if there was a higher being like God or Jesus, they would just want us to love each other no matter what. If they created all of us, they created all of us with the idea that we want that they would love us no matter what we do. They're
eh,
forgiving people. It's just like,
eh. My parents don't even do that.
I know. It's just, it's a very basic concept, but I feel like it's one that's been lost over
Well,
time.
one of my parents.
Anyway, moving on. Moving on.
What?
Uh, ooh, actually,
Boobies.
yeah, we have some lighter subjects to go on, some pleasant things
Boobies?
to talk about.
Does it
Uh,
rhyme with boobies?
Jay wanted to bring up something about boobies. It
Yes.
just says literally on our thing for topics, it just says boobies.
Boobies?
Boobies.
No, I'm just kidding.
Um,
It says more than that.
so in this episode of How It's Made, I would like to go into how are
Boobies.
boobies made.
Like what kind of boobies?
Oh, I'm sorry. So so when a person transitions and they start taking like HRTs and stuff like that, and I guess very specifically, I should clarify when you transition from a male to a female. So what happens to your boobies? Like what happens to your body? Like what walk me through
Well,
to our listeners what goes on.
so
Hmm.
there's this giant bird. Um, Jenny got hers brought to her by a stork.
Well, can we first make sure because not everyone knows what HRT stands for. That does stand for hormone
Hormone
replacement therapy.
replacement therapy.
The idea is to take your birth hormone, the birth gender that you or birth whatever they want to call it, your whatever the sex you were born with.
Huh?
They want to ideally stop the puberty that's happening. Stop any kind of formation of for me specifically masculine features. So then you can take the hormones that are more fitting to what's going to match your mind to your body.
Mhm.
Because at the moment for trans, and this is going off subject a little bit, but the thing you need to know about trans people is that for us, it's a mismatch of our mind to our body. That's all. It's very simply that's what it is. Um. Anyway, sorry for interrupting, babe. Boobies.
Oh, you were talking.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll keep talking. Yeah, boobies changing. So a lot,
Boobies.
and I think for me it was like this. You think things are gonna change immediately, but change takes time, and your breasts will always be developing. I mean, they're always developing. I mean, mine are always changing, and I've had implants, so like, you know, I'm sure Nikki can vouch for this. Hers are always changing. It depends on your hormone levels. It depends on your health, your weight. Like, but all I can tell you is that it does start off with what I call is like budding, which is whenever the
Yeah.
formation of nerves behind your nipple happens, and that hurts, and that hurts. I remember that hurts. And you're
Yeah.
very sensitive. I can only recommend that, even though you may not be developing full breast tissue yet, and you might just be having sensitive nipples, do wear like a very soft like bralette or like a sports bra because it'll help with the soreness. And then lotion because lotion is very good
Stretching.
for yeah, for your skin because your skin can like will stretch
Stretch.
over time. And
You should
yeah,
lotion it.
yeah, that can help prevent the stretch marks.
Same thing with anytime you like, if you're like working out, gaining a lot of muscle somewhere, you want to like lotion it so that way you don't get stretch marks. And you can get stretch marks on your boobies.
Yeah. Did you want to add
Um,
anything else? What changes?
I mean, everybody's different. Um, Some people have crazier results. Some people don't like barely have any results. Um,
Genetic
I
based.
think I think it was like a year before I was like, oh wow, like look at the difference. Like it takes a long time, and some people get kind of impatient with that. So patience, as cliche as it sounds, patience is a virtue. Like if you're taking HRT, be patient and let the medicine do its thing. Set other goals for yourself while that happens, you know,
Hmm.
and just let that play around in the background.
Also,
Um,
um,
I don't know.
also documenting change through pictures is very helpful because it makes it easier to see the change that you're going through as far as physically. I've talked about that before. I always encourage taking pictures, not for social media, but for yourself, just so you can
Yeah,
see.
that way you can see like
Yeah,
your
you can
changes over
see every
time.
day, like, oh my gosh, like my cheeks are more full this day, or and it really helps boost that your self esteem too when you do see those changes and they're like positive changes.
Yeah,
But with boobies, overall, I think Nikki and I can agree with that. It's just patience. Take your time.
yeah.
Do keep up with your hormone regimen. Lotion, very important. Massaging as well. Whenever that, and that's something I didn't actually mention is whenever you're going through that budding stage of the nerves developing behind your nipples, actually massaging your breast tissue helps encourage more growth and stimulates that nerve tissue that's growing and kind of helps with the
Show
pain.
us, show us,
I am
show
not
us.
going to show you. I'm not going to show you how
Damn
to
it!
do that.
I almost got her, y'all. Almost got her.
All right. So Jay, we want to add anything to? I know you have booby. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I'm totally joking. I'm totally joking.
What are
Joking.
your thoughts on boobs?
What are your thoughts on boobs?
Boobies.
Cool. All
Nice.
right.
Agreed.
Next subject.
Agreed.
So, I know. I guess like So I know you mentioned like it could take up to like a year.
Hmm.
Um. So if someone, okay, so follow up questions. One, everyone is different, but from your perspective,
Yeah.
how big did your boobies get
Hmm.
just from like HRTs? And then like I know Jenny, like when did you decide to like make the decision to like get um performance enhancements?
Do you want to go first,
So,
babe? Or
yeah,
okay.
sure. So for me, like, um, I think it was like 6 months in, I realized that like, oh wow, there's growth happening, and I think it capped off at like a year and a half, and I got up to like a large B, a small C, like size ish, and and that was enough for me. And it varies from person to person, like what like what they want on their body, and like some people will, you know, that make that decision whether or not they want to augment or supplement. Um, but like for me, like I was on HRT, and I think it was about like a year and a half. I gotten to where I'm at now, and I've just always been happy with it. I've kind of like thought about maybe doing implants like here and there, but like I always kind of I don't need it. I don't know if I want surgery,
Mm.
and everybody has like different decisions for their own body and like what they want to do, and I think that's fucking great.
Ooh,
You know,
I have a question for you. So
what's your
my
question?
question is, how was your experience with progesterone? We all the trans women have different experiences with it. Do you like it? Did you find good results? Do you
I
recommend it?
So if you'd asked me at the time that I was taking it, I would swear by it. Like, yeah, they're totally it's giving me results. But what I think it did was I think it just made me more um I don't know. It definitely changed my mood for sure being on
Hmm.
progesterone. At the time, I think that it was helping. I'm not 100%. Um, I've read plenty of articles that swear by it. I've read articles that are like, "What? That's inconclusive."
Yeah,
Um,
same.
I say do what you wanna do.
Yeah.
I don't take it now. I just take the E, but
For
yeah, I
me,
don't
oh, sorry.
I'm not probably not the best person to ask about progesterone. I know I took it, and I know for certain it made me more, uh, emotionally, inclined to, you know am I making any sense?
Sure.
That
Um,
sounded unsure.
um, as far as progesterone for me, I really didn't have much good results from it. I think it's more because of my genetics. For me, the women in my family are typically small chested, so I did not really expect to get like a very large chest from hormones. But I do remember like the first couple of months were like pretty intense with the nerves growing because like it's very sensitive and like you accidentally hit yourself there. It hurts like pretty bad. Like it feels like you have a bruise behind your nipples essentially. And then like after like I think it was like the first year, I was pretty unhappy with the results of how much I've grown and I kept giving it more time. I think about 6 years into my transition, I discovered that I was able to get my breast augmentation covered by surgery. So I underwent that journey, which was pretty awesome, scary and everything, but pretty awesome. Um, I'd say,
Remember when I told you that they left your nipples and that
yeah,
they were gonna
yeah.
yeah, that's the thing I did.
She
On the
tried to
drive
convince me
home,
that
I
they
told her
removed
that,
my nipples.
and then they were gonna put them back on tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was freaking out.
I know, I
Um,
mean,
the only thing I could say about breast augmentation is, and growing your boobies for HRT and stuff. Why I'll reiterate this: patience, because like you do not want to, come out as trans, start your transition, and like you're a month in and you don't see any results from your boobs, and you're like, I'm gonna go get surgery. Well, if you do that, then your breast tissue that's naturally going to grow is going to grow a little bit differently than if you had not done that. I would wait until you're, you know, 2 years into your transition, 3 years maybe, just so you know that you've gotten all the
yeah,
growth you can naturally, because that's going to help your doctor like
I've heard the same
significantly.
thing from doctors. They
Yeah,
prefer that you wait.
because then they have more tissue to work with, they have more fat on that area, more skin to work with, and it makes for a better result when you get your surgery as far as breast
And it makes them more
augmentation.
confident that there's not gonna be more changes
Yeah,
after they do
I
surgery.
just, anything with hormone replacement therapy and results, I always say patience and take pictures. Take pictures, 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 or video document. It's for documentation of yourself. It's a journaling essentially to see your results.
Ugh,
Um, but yeah, boobies. I
boobies.
Yeah, boobies hurt.
Oh,
They hurt on hormones.
For another topic that I discussed,
Yeah, yeah, that's
something that hormones doesn't necessarily, uh, affect is your voice. Um, Specifically, like, for male to female transgender people sometimes like to, you know, feminize their voice or take steps to feminize their voice to, I guess, better blend in public. Um, yeah,
yeah,
that's a topic that I decided to talk about.
voice training.
Um, Me, I when I decided that I was transitioning, I did everything I could, like, obsessively to try to, like, learn how to talk like how I talk now, and everybody's got different opinions on that, different choices that they make. I decided to train my voice. Um, Not sure where I'm going with this. Um, Jenny, help me out here.
Well, I mean, you decided to train your voice. Why did you do that? Why did you feel like you needed to do that? Did someone tell you to do that? Where'd you get your resources? What kind of video did you watch? Did you train yourself? Like, what's
Yeah,
your
I trained myself.
experience with vocal
I
training?
I had very little experience with vocal training. I just decided that that's what I wanted. If I was going to transition, I needed I decided I needed to sound the part, and I wanted to fucking just blend in and like that because I was afraid to get discriminated against.
Makes sense.
So I became obsessed with it, and here I am. Now I talk like this all the time.
Well,
Uh, I like it's actually hard for me to not talk like this. I see
yeah.
some girls that like they'll jump back and forth, and I think that's fucking incredible. I think it's cool to have that kind of uh, control over your vocal cords. I think it's cool. Uh,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on it,
On voice training?
Jenny?
Well,
Yeah.
I started out like this.
and then I came, so I took some voice training. Just kidding.
Wow, that's
I have never done any
hot.
formal voice training. I have tried in the past. I've actually taken voice training lessons from a professional voice training coach. Um, I have a hard time doing it without feeling some sort of ridiculous, but also I don't know, I just feel like voice training isn't necessary. I feel like if you're a person who doesn't mind being misgendered sometimes because of your voice, that it's not really necessary. It's more of like a safety thing, I feel like, for trans people. For me, at least. I feel like if I wanted to do voice training, it would be for my own safety so I could not be called out as trans in public as often or not be seen as trans so easily. But I don't see, for me, it's just, it doesn't bother me that much that my voice sounds the way it does. Um, I don't really care that much. And I honestly get upset when other people care so much that they're like, why aren't you doing the voice training? Why aren't you like blending in more or whatever? I can't be bothered with it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I even know some trans people that like won't go out with you in public
Oh,
because of the way you sound, because they're like,
I've
I don't
had
want to
it.
get clocked.
Yeah, I've had trans friends in the past that are, I don't know if this term is still a thing, but were stealth, meaning they were secretly trans. Like no one knew, like their friends didn't know they're trans, even like some like their loved ones, family members don't know. It's just like it's a secret. And they invited me out, but like and we hung out, and then they invited me to their wedding and then was like, "Hey, can you like feminize your voice a little bit?" And I was just like, "Yo."
Yeah, can you be a little less blatantly trans, please? You're upsetting the guests.
Yeah, I was like, "Come on now." I would never ask another trans person to do that. Like
Yeah,
that's
I think that's fucking absurd.
that yeah, it's just
But I
crazy,
have a
but
bias.
but like I don't know. Voice training I think for is important on an individual basis for some
Yeah.
trans people, or and then we're talking about trans women because trans men actually through their hormone replacement therapy, a lot of them will gain a deeper voice through it through
Yeah, 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 that's true.
but
I've
uh,
met a few trans men.
yeah, that have deeper
Yeah.
voices just because of hormones,
Yeah.
but some of them do have to take voice
Fucking
training.
wild.
But what I'm saying is like that's kind of like your own journey. Like, um, For some of us, yeah, it's sounding more effeminate, sounding softer with the softer tone makes us feel more in, tune with our body and our mind being, matching. But for some of us, we don't care. All I can say is for a new trans person deciding whether or not you want to go with voice training is that if you don't do voice training and you don't have a very soft spoken voice and you have a voice maybe a little bit deeper, just slightly, even slightly, you have to expect that at a certain point you are going to get misgendered. And if that is upsetting to you in any way, then practice voice training. It's not hard. Nikki can vouch for that. She has taken no formal training. She has done it herself. And there's lots of YouTubers out there that do voice training. And I just recommend like finding a YouTuber you like, finding someone that you like the way they sound and taking advice from them.
Yeah, I wish I had the skills and knowledge to convey what I did to get to where I'm at, but I don't. I did a lot of singing, a lot of I would sing a lot in a vocal range that I knew was just at the edge of my ability, and I would sing
Mm.
over and over and over and try to emulate as much as possible female artists that were like within my vocal range. And then like every other muscle in your body, I would train it and it would get a little bit higher, and I would, have a little bit more comfort. Um,
There's a lot of tips and tricks you can do.
yeah, I wish I could, uh, more in depth elaborate,
I
but
mean, maybe we
I don't.
can have,
Maybe,
I don't know.
maybe,
Maybe you could
maybe
do
we
your own
could talk
voice
to someone
lessons.
that actually does have that know-how. That
I know. Like I said, I took voice lessons from a voice training coach when I was in Seattle. So maybe I could have her on the podcast sometime.
maybe.
Maybe. She's very busy, so doubtful. Anyway, I think the next subject maybe be the last subject of the live show. What do you all think?
I thought that might be good. What do you think about that?
Is that cowboy?
Yeah.
All right.
Cowboy?
The last subject I have here is we brought this up a little bit with Stonewall earlier, and it's trans history, which I think is something that's very important.
It's not old enough.
Tristery.
Trans history is human history, and we need to be informed. Everyone needs to know that trans people have been around for centuries. We have been around, and there's examples that go back to ancient Sumer and Greece, like centuries ago. And there's more examples, in the early 1900s, the 1700s, the 1800s, genderqueer people that don't conform to the gender norms, that don't take in the normal gender roles or, actually appear as the opposite gender as what they were born as. And this has happened throughout history. And I think it's very important that we start talking about these things because they're actively trying to take away all those things. What is that on your screen? Oh, my
On
bad.
what screen?
That was mine. That was me. My bad. But I think they're trying to take away the history, take away the facts. And I think we could spend a little time, every now and then on the live show talking about a little bit of trans history, like Stonewall, for instance, and what happened there. Because you can't take us out of that. You can't take trans women. You can't take the drag queens. You can't take them out of it because they were the main part of the movement. And that's a more recent thing in history where trans people were involved. Trans people have been involved in history longer. The Danish Girl, that movie was based on a real trans woman. fuck, like the you know, the Holocaust, it started with trans people and disabled people. It started with the smallest group of people. We have been there in history for longer than any person on this planet has been alive. We have been there longer than them. And I feel like, we should bring the history out a little bit more. What do y'all think?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I was gonna talk more about Stonewall, but I feel like we need like a whole like half an episode segment on Stonewall because there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Like you can't, and I feel like it doesn't do Stonewall justice to just like briefly talk about it. Like I want to like cover some like really important things that happened there. That's a very significant part of trans history in America. So, um, how do you feel, babe? How do you feel about talking about more history things, historical facts of our people?
I'm not a historian. Um, I'm an adult film performer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't really have a lot to add to history. I slept through a lot of it, but I will say it's fucked up that uh, we're trying to actively change facts and just I don't know. I think it's fucking weird that we're like making that normal to
Making
just be
that
like,
acceptable.
oh, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Fake news.
I mean, I know one thing is that you can erase history and stuff, but you won't erase trans people. No matter how much writings or books you burn or history you try to get rid of. And this is proven because, in our history, you know, a certain group of people burned all of the science and things dealing with trans people in the country. And guess what? Trans people still existed. So I'm just saying. We still exist. We're still there. We're still gonna be there. So get used to us. Get used to us. We ain't going nowhere. But yeah. Is there anything else we want to talk about for the podcast today? I mean, we talked about some heavy hitting things. Maybe we want to say something positive.
Now what?
Uh,
I just said. Did you not listen to anything I just said?
what do we do now? What do we do now?
Do we want to talk about some positive things at all, or we just want to
Comic-Con's
end it
coming
right
up.
here?
Do you have any positive things to talk about?
Comic-Con's coming up. We
Comic
have
Con's coming
actually
up.
March. March is there's a lot of stuff going on. There's so much stuff going on. Let me break it down to you. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, March. We got Comic-Con in
That's
Seattle.
this month.
Yeah, that's like next weekend, Comic-Con.
That's like right now.
No, the next one. And
No,
then
March.
yeah, March is now. It's happening.
March is now.
And then we
Then we
have
got April, and then
yeah,
it's gonna be May.
yep. Yep.
Cool. This is how we're gonna end it. Awkwardly
yeah.
standing here and quiet.
So we have Comic-Con coming up next week. The GSBA Impact Awards coming up in a week.
Oh yeah, that was
The
fun the one time
Seattle
I went.
I went to that once.
Yeah, that was
the
nice.
Seattle Fetish Ball is this month.
Fetish
I'm
ball?
taking a flogging class this month.
Wait, what?
That's cool.
How do you take a class on spanking?
You go to a place and
You pay
But
some
like,
money.
why is that a class? Like, you gotta learn like.
because so it's flogging, and there's a lot of like areas that you shouldn't flog. There's areas that are like okay to flog. Um, there's also like techniques on like how to like flog without like damaging like your shoulder or like wearing out your shoulder. And then there's also like a whole process of like
Someone's
warming
doing it
up.
that hard that they're wearing their shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, like if you're like think about like a bullwhip, right? Like if you're just like waba, like if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna like. And I've actually like had a lot of.
Who's getting whipped that hard though? Who likes getting whipped that hard? Okay, never mind.
Anyways, yeah, I've seen like a lot of like interviews with like dominatrixes that are like you have to like know how to properly hit someone. You're gonna fuck up your shoulders and stuff. So yeah, we're taking a
Hmm.
class on that.
Nice.
And yeah, I think there's like some other shit going on. Going to a rave this month, like
Oh,
Galactus.
really? That sounds fun.
I don't really know who Galactus is, but we're going.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
But
Our
yeah.
best friend's coming here tomorrow.
Nice.
One of our best friends.
I will be
That's
VR
exciting.
streaming soon. That's gonna be
Jenny's gonna
fun.
start VR streaming soon.
Yeah.
Like on Pornhub?
No,
Ah!
like VR
Oh my
game
goodness.
streaming.
Yeah, I'm the one. I wear the VR goggles.
Also,
Nice.
I would like to say, of all the things that are happening negative in the country, focused around trans people, we have been through hard stuff before. We have come a long way for the rights of us as trans people, for us being in the public eye more. Nothing can stop us. Nothing will stop us. And we will
Yeah,
overcome any of these laws, bills that are stupid that they're passing. Because one day,
I do think we will outlive a lot of the bullshit that is going on in
yes,
politics right now. I think we'll be fine.
we will be fine.
Like I have worries, but like I do think that a lot of this shit will come to pass. I think that they're doing what we think that they're doing. Sure, I think that they are trying to erase us. Do I think that they're gonna succeed? No.
No,
Um,
you just gotta stay positive, stay
yeah,
focused. And if you
stay
feel,
informed. Do stay informed, but
yeah,
don't fucking doom scroll politics
no.
for your own mental health.
And if you
Like,
want to
get
do
outside,
something about
touch
it,
grass, focus on one of your hobbies that you like,
and it,
exercise,
if,
gardening, whatever it is, do something else.
mhm. And
There's been
if you want to do something about it, just look up some like a local rally to go to, a peaceful rally. Like, don't stress out about what you can't do. Focus on what you can do, what's reachable,
Yeah.
what's attainable for you to do. And sometimes maybe just reaching out to a trans friend, to someone that you might think, oh wow, this might be affecting them really hard, let me make sure they're doing okay. That's enough right there. So just check in with each other. This is a time for our community to really stay strong and care about one another.
Yeah.
definitely.
I wanted to end the podcast with something positive,
Yep.
but
I wanted to end the positive with something podcast.
anyways, don't forget to remember to subscribe, like,
Don't
comment,
forget to remember.
and thumbs up the video. I don't know. Thank you for joining us, though. For real, we talked about some pretty heavy stuff.
Bye.
It was real.
Yeah, it was real, but it wasn't real cool. I don't know. Bye, y'all.